2024 was undeniably the year of jaw-dropping scandals and explosive lawsuits, with allegations shaking up Hollywood like never before. And while many of us hope to leave that chaos behind, Blake Lively seems determined to keep the drama alive. She just dragged Justin Baldoni for absolute filth. And if that weren't enough, her husband Ryan Reynolds is allegedly jumping into the fray. From trolling Justin on camera to outright going off on him for fat-shaming remarks, things are heating up fast.
But in here, everybody calls me Nice Pool. Oh my goodness, wait till you see Lady Pool. She is gorgeous. She just had a baby too, and...
But why? That's the million-dollar question. Sources close to Baldoni claim he's being unfairly targeted, with Blake twisting his words and using her platform to paint him in the worst possible light.
Blake Lively is suing Justin Baldoni for occurrences that allegedly happened on their movie together, which no one knows what really happened. But what's interesting is I don't know that Justin Baldoni is a very wealthy man. And what is she suing for? She has infinitely more money than him. She hasn't tried to have him arrested for anything criminal. And the legal fees will probably bury him.
And Ryan? He's using his sarcastic charm to amplify the noise, making it even harder for Justin to defend himself.
On December 20th, Blake Lively filed a complaint against Justin Baldoni and others in California, claiming harassment.
For fans of Baldoni, this feels like deja vu. A good guy in Hollywood being dragged through the mud while the real culprits hide behind a veil of power and influence. And let's be honest, Blake's reputation for controlling the narrative isn't exactly news. If the rumors of her manipulative tactics hold up, this could expose a much darker side to her carefully curated image.
Justin Baldoni filed a lawsuit against the New York Times, but he will most certainly also file a lawsuit against Blake Lively.
So what's really driving Blake and Ryan's crusade against Baldoni? Is there truth to their claims? Or are we watching another Hollywood power couple flex their influence to crush someone they see as a threat? Buckle up, because this drama is about to take center stage, and the stakes have never been higher. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds have long been celebrated as Hollywood's golden couple. Fans swoon over their playful banter and unwavering support for one another, labeling them #couple goals. But behind the scenes, cracks are forming, and the once envied duo may not be as perfect as they seem. At the center of this drama is a battle brewing between the pair and Justin Baldoni, a battle that has exposed just how twisted the dynamics of their relationship might really be. This saga began when Blake Lively filed a bombshell SH lawsuit against her It Ends With Us co-star and director Justin Baldoni.
Actress Blake Lively is accusing co-star and director Justin Baldoni of sexual harassment and a smear campaign stemming from their work together on the summer movie It Ends With Us.
Allegations flew, headlines screamed, and Hollywood collectively gasped. Lively claimed Baldoni not only harassed her, but also orchestrated a smear campaign to tarnish her reputation. A bold accusation, no doubt, but one Baldoni vehemently denied. But rewind a little bit. What is this smear campaign she's talking about? When It Ends With Us hit the box office, whispers began circulating about Blake's on-set behavior. And let's be clear, these weren't just baseless rumors. There was actual evidence. Journalists and insiders came forward with accounts that painted Blake as controlling, self-centered, and, let's just say it, a nightmare to work with. One journalist recounted an unpleasant experience during an interview, where Blake, instead of discussing the movie's important themes, focused on promoting her hair care brand.
The boots were mine.
I love them.
There's these great Louboutins that are also a close-up on them when we're dancing in the bar. Those are mine. I have a few of my husband's shirts and socks randomly in the movie.
Yes, you heard that right. Her hair care brand. And Justin Baldoni, the film's director and co-star, had nothing to do with these complaints. In fact, he was busy doing what he does best, bringing awareness to the real issue at the heart of the movie, DV.
He brought Blake on because Colleen Hoover is such a big fan. This is his film, and he has basically been pushed out by the Blake Lively show.
Blake, on the other hand, seemed more preoccupied with damage control, After facing backlash, she turned the spotlight onto Baldoni, filing an SH lawsuit that many now suspect was a desperate attempt to shift the narrative in her favor. But Blake didn't stop there. During a press event for the movie, she was asked how survivors could reach out to her for support, a golden opportunity to champion organizations and provide meaningful resources. Instead, Blake opted for a cheeky response.
So if someone understands the themes of this movie, comes across you in public, and they want to really talk to you, what's the best way for them to be able to talk to you about this? How would you recommend they go about it?
Like asking for like my address or my phone number or like my location share?
The lack of seriousness in her answer raised eyebrows and set off a wave of criticism. It was a glaring missed opportunity for someone who claims to care about the issue to actually make an impact. Throughout the press tour, Blake's priorities seemed off, while Baldoni took a measured, heartfelt approach to promote the film's critical message. Blake couldn't stop gushing about her wardrobe. The outfits that stole the spotlight also landed on her FLAS mean hit list, as critics and fans alike began to question whether Blake's focus was on the cause or her couture. And it wasn't just her fashion choices that raised concerns. Blake also stirred controversy by claiming her husband, Ryan Reynolds, wrote the movie's now iconic rooftop scene. It's worth noting that the film's real screenwriters received little recognition, and Blake's offhand comment effectively stole their thunder. Fans were quick to call her out, accusing her of once again centering herself in situations where credit wasn't due. This behavior has started to wear thin on audiences. Many are questioning whether Blake's talents truly lie in acting or if she's merely a figurehead of Hollywood glamour. One fan summed it up perfectly. To me, acting was never something Blake Lively is known for. Every time I heard anyone mention her, it was always about what she wears. That's why it makes no sense how she reacted in the interview when she's known for just looking pretty. I think she thinks a little too highly of herself these days after the movie release. The saga isn't just about Blake's questionable behavior on set or her dismissive comments during interviews. It's about a pattern, a reoccurring theme of Blake prioritizing her image over substance and dragging others down to lift herself up. Now, with Ryan Reynolds seemingly backing her up in her campaign against Baldoni, things are getting even messier. While Ryan's loyalty is commendable, it's hard not to wonder if he's enabling his wife's behavior at the expense of someone else's career. One thing's for sure, Blake's perfect rock is starting to crack, and this time it might just be too big to sweep under the rug. Talking about cracks, Baldoni's patience is also running thin. Instead of quietly letting the courts handle it, Baldoni fought back, filing a $250 million lawsuit against the New York Times for what he claims was a libelous report supporting Lively's claims.
Has Justin Baldoni filed a lawsuit against the New York Times, but he will most certainly also file a lawsuit against Blake Lively.
He also accused Reynolds of berating him during a private meeting at Reynolds and Lively's apartment, alleging the encounter was traumatic and intended to intimidate. Baldoni's lawyer, Brian Friedman, claimed the Times cowered to the wants and whims of two powerful, untouchable Hollywood elites, meaning Lively and Reynolds, the former co-stars who married in 2012. According to Friedman, the bombshell report used doctored and manipulated texts, and that his side has all of the communications to back their versions of events. A spokesperson for the Times responded saying, "Our story was meticulously and responsibly reported. It was based on a review of thousands of pages of original documents, including the text messages and emails that we quote accurately and at length in the article." The outlet plans to vigorously defend against Baldoni's lawsuit. Within his complaint, Baldoni's legal team alleged that he and some of the producers were called to a meeting at Lively and Reynolds' New York City apartment in January 2024, the day before filming was set to resume after industry guild strikes ended. There, Reynolds launched into a tirade berating Baldoni in what Baldoni later described as a traumatic encounter, stating he had never been spoken to like that in his life. The complaint alleged Baldoni claimed Reynolds demanded an apology for Lively, accusing him of fat-shaming her. And when Baldoni resisted apologizing for what he had not done, Reynolds became further enraged. And that's not all from Ryan. Fans noticed something peculiar about a deleted scene featuring Reynolds and Nice Pool, a man-bun sporting, pseudo-feminist variant of his iconic Deadpool character. Nice Pool's dialogue included a sarcastic nod to Blake Lively's on-screen counterpart, Lady Pool, calling her gorgeous and noting,
But in here, everybody calls me Nice Pool. Oh my goodness, wait till you see Lady Pool. She is gorgeous. She just had a baby too, and
Nice Pool's remark "That's okay, I identify as a feminist," followed by a jab about starting a podcast to monetize the women's movement. Subtle? Hardly. Baldoni's attorney, Brian Friedman, was quick to point out the eerie similarities, saying there's no question the character was a direct dig at Baldoni, down to the infamous man bun. Friedman stated during an interview with Megyn Kelly, "What I make of that is, if your wife is SH'd, you don't make fun of Justin Baldoni," said Friedman. "There's no question it relates to Justin. I mean, anybody that saw that hair bun, if somebody is seriously SH'd, you don't make fun of it. It's a serious issue." Here's where things get murky. Ryan Reynolds isn't just defending his wife, he's weaponizing his influence to attack Baldoni, using his signature humor as a sword. On the surface, it looks like Ryan is the ultimate supportive husband, standing shoulder to shoulder with Blake in her battle for justice. But dig a little deeper, and this strategy starts to feel less like support and more like a calculated smear campaign. Blake's lawsuit paints Baldoni as a villain, but his countersuit suggests she's blowing minor grievances out of proportion to destroy his career. And Ryan's role in this? Amplifying her narrative to the masses through his cultural cachet. Critics argue that if Blake truly believed in her claims, she wouldn't need her husband's Deadpool antics to validate them. Justin Baldoni's once sterling reputation is unraveling at an alarming rate, and the fallout seems to grow worse with each passing day. All thanks to Blake Lively's relentless campaign to tank his name. Once celebrated as a champion for women's empowerment, Baldoni is now facing mounting losses that are not only damaging his career, but also his personal brand as an advocate for gender equity.
He claims that she made up the allegations of because she got on a power trip and took over his movie. The Times' story relied almost entirely on Lively's unverified and self-serving narrative, lifting it nearly verbatim while disregarding an abundance of evidence that contradicted her claims.
Earlier this December, Baldoni was honored with a Women's Solidarity Award by Vital Voices, a global nonprofit dedicated to empowering women. It was a fitting recognition for someone who has spent years advocating for gender equality through his work and platform. But in a stunning reversal, Vital Voices rescinded the award shortly after Blake Lively's legal complaint surfaced. The organization stated that the allegations of abhorrent conduct detailed in the complaint were contrary to the values they uphold. This wasn't just a slap in the face, it was a public erasure of one of Baldoni's proudest achievements. It's not just the awards that are slipping through Baldoni's fingers. His Man Enough podcast, a show that aimed to create a safe environment for unpacking masculinity, relationships, and mental health, has taken a major hit. Liz Plank, Baldoni's co-host and a vocal feminist, announced her departure from the show, citing an inability to continue in light of the accusations. The podcast once symbolized Baldoni's commitment to fostering meaningful conversations around toxic masculinity and mental health. But now, with Plank's exit, it's clear that the allegations have cast a shadow over everything he's worked to build. It's hard to ignore the irony. A man who has devoted much of his career to advocating for women and challenging toxic norms is now being vilified for allegedly violating those very principles. Critics argue that the accusations, fueled by Blake's complaint, have effectively undone years of progress Baldoni made in rebranding masculinity and creating spaces for open dialogue.
This is complicated because isn't the studio, like the set, etc., the workplace, and this happened in the workplace. So she's only suing him, not the studio. I think it's interesting.
Blake Lively's allegations didn't just aim to tarnish Baldoni's name, they've set off a domino effect that's impacting his professional partnership's public image and ability to continue his advocacy work. The timing of this fallout has left many questioning Blake's motives. Why now? Why take aim at someone who was actively working to address societal issues like domestic violence? The very topic it ends with us is aimed to highlight. It's hard not to see this as a calculated move to shift blame and deflect attention from her own controversies during the film's production.
The fact is that Lively embarked on a hostile takeover of the production, strong-arming Sony into blessing her with ultimate control.
Justin Baldoni's legal battle against Blake Lively is rapidly escalating, with shocking allegations and counterclaims shedding light on a deeply fractured working relationship. Baldoni's lawsuit against the New York Times not only accuses the outlet of biased reporting, but also paints a damning picture of Blake Lively and her alleged attempts to control and derail the production of It Ends With Us. According to Baldoni's lawsuit, Blake Lively allegedly went to great lengths to sideline him during the film's premiere, which culminated in a series of humiliating incidents. Baldoni revealed in a voice memo shared during an interview with his attorney Brian Friedman on The Megyn Kelly Show that he was sent to the basement of the event for over an hour with his friends and family after walking the red carpet. Friedman stated that Lively didn't want Baldoni anywhere near her or the rest of the cast, effectively exiling him from the celebration. Baldoni also claimed that he was barred from the exclusive after-party, an exclusion he described as a calculated attempt to diminish his role as the film's director.
What is wrong with her taking over the film?
I've never seen it before in my 30-plus year career in Hollywood. And an executive producer is below a producer in the film world. An executive producer signed up to be an executive producer, and that's it. As the time progressed in this film, she decided that she wanted to be a producer. She started to make edits. She wanted to be part of the editing team. There were people hired, like human beings actually hired to do the editing job, who had done work as editors. She wanted to be part of that team. The next thing you know, she took over the editing.
While Baldoni initially praised Lively during the film's promotion, calling her a wonderful collaborator, his lawsuit tells a drastically different story. Baldoni alleges that Lively and her husband, Ryan Reynolds, overstepped their boundaries, undermining his authority as the director. One key accusation involves a now infamous interview in which Lively credited Reynolds with writing one of the movie's iconic scenes. Baldoni claims this was the first time he'd learned of Reynolds' unauthorized script changes, which he described as a blatant overreach. The lawsuit further accuses Lively of interfering with the editing process. Despite Baldoni incorporating extensive notes from her into his cut, Lively allegedly created her own version of the film and threatened to withhold promotion unless her edit was considered for release. Baldoni claims that even after his version tested significantly higher with audiences, Lively reneged on her promise to support the better-performing cut, pressuring the studio to concede to her demands. Brian Friedman, Baldoni's attorney, made it clear during the interview with Kelly that this fight is far from over. He vowed to sue Lively into oblivion and hinted at a broader countersuit targeting multiple defendants, including Ryan Reynolds. Friedman accused Lively of bullying her way through the process to take over the movie and using her PR team to smear Baldoni's reputation. In response, Lively's legal team has doubled down on their claims, insisting that her lawsuit against Baldoni is grounded in concrete facts. Her lawyer framed Baldoni's countersuit and public statements as a classic attempt to reverse the victim and offender, accusing him of trivializing her allegations. The statement emphasized that this is not a dispute over creative differences, but a serious matter of misconduct on set. This legal showdown has the makings of a Hollywood saga, with careers and reputations hanging in the balance. On one side, Baldoni is fighting to clear his name and reclaim his authority as a director, while on the other, Lively is framing herself as a victim of retaliation for standing up against alleged misconduct. With Friedman promising a lawsuit backed by evidence and Lively's camp maintaining that they have the facts on their side, this battle is far from over. One thing is for certain, this feud is no longer just about a movie. It's about power, control, and reputations on the line in a very public arena. The question now is, can Baldoni recover from this? The lawsuit he's filed against the New York Times for allegedly cherry-picking messages in Lively's complaint shows he's ready to fight back. But will it be enough to restore the reputation Blake Lively has systematically dismantled? One thing's for sure, the stakes couldn't be higher. Baldoni's advocacy, career, and public persona are all hanging in the balance. Whether he can weather this storm or not will depend on how the truth unfolds. But right now, it's clear that Blake's campaign has cost him dearly.